back to a new video on my channel. I am so excited that it is finally October. I feel like I have so many fun things planned this month and I just cannot wait to get going on them. October is also like the most perfect time of year. Like the weather is gorgeous and fall and autumnal and just so nice. My birthday is in October, so maybe I'm a little bit biased towards October, but I think it's a great month. And then we have Halloween and just other like fun fall things going on. I'm so excited. It's been a while since I did one of these reset videos on my channel, but I'm very excited to be bringing you one today. We're going to be completely resetting for October. I have a whole bunch of things that I need to do, and this is mostly just going to be a this evening kind of video, but we're going to go through a lot of different things. I'm going to do some general cleaning stuff, so hopefully this will motivate you to clean your own space if you're in need of doing that. I also am going to be talking a little bit about my finances and my budget and how I go about doing that. I'm just going to be planning the month, talking about some things I'm looking forward to. I'm going to be reflecting a little bit on the month of September, talking about some of my highs and lows from the past month, and also some of my favorite things from this past month in terms of like products and books and movies, shows, all of that kind of stuff. So I'm very excited to get this video started, and we're going to start out by doing all of the little cleaning tasks that I have been putting off for a while. So this is the current mess that we are working with. It's not that bad. There's just lots of stuff here and there that I want to go through. I am going to start by putting my towels on to wash though, because I do think that I haven't done that in a while and I want to do that now, because on Sunday I'll like wash my bedding and my clothes and everything, but I think today I just want to get that done and out the way with. So the next item on the agenda for tackling is my desk. I've had so many papers and things on my desk for the past few weeks that I just need to move. Like I have this whole pile here and I'm like, I definitely don't need all of this, but it's like all of the stuff from whenever I first started working. So like all of my like insurance and like first paychecks and like things like that like I kind of need to keep. But then I also have like receipts and stuff and like random junk mail in there, so I just need to like sort it out and figure all that out. Okay, this area is looking a lot better. I still have to take out my bins, but that's a later problem. It's actually free of random bits of paper. Also, here's your reminder to shred any sensitive documents that you may have. If it has like your address or so like any bills or any receipts that you have, always make sure to shred those because you don't want people just coming across them. Also, I won't lie, it's like kind of fun to shred things. Like just, it's really satisfying. I hope you enjoyed that little vlog section and got you all motivated to clean. And now I'm going to be talking about my finances and my monthly budget. So I'll show you here what my budget looks like. I basically just have this spreadsheet in Excel. But basically this sheet just has everything I could possibly need. I am tracking the amount that's in all of my bank accounts. I'm tracking all of my bills and subscriptions. I have like a sinking funds contribution as well that I'm going to talk about a little bit more in a second. And then obviously I'm going to track my general expenses. So I'm going to start by talking through a little bit my general expenses and how those looked this past month. So last month in total for expenses, I spent about $1,600. I actually spent a little bit more than that. I did buy a flight that was like $600, so I actually spent another $600 on top of that. However, I have recently set up some sinking funds where basically I am contributing a certain amount into these sinking funds every single month so that whenever I have to make big purchases like flights, they don't feel like they're coming out of just my general spending money. And I really am glad that I started doing this. I was able to take pretty much all of the money for my flight just out of that sinking fund, and now that sinking fund is in fact empty, and that is rather sad, but I'm going to keep contributing to it, and hopefully it'll just help to spread out those expenses just a little bit more. So the sinking funds that I have are a vacation fund, flights, a gift fund, and an emergency fund. And also this month in October, I'm going to also be adding a car maintenance sinking fund as well. So I budget out my expenses very, very small and minutely. Like I use very specific categories for each of my expenses. That is just something that I like and that works for me. I also use the app Mint quite a lot to help me track all of my expenses, and it just basically does all of that for me. So the categories that I have in my Excel document all correspond to the categories I have in Mint. So I'm just gonna run through all of my categories. Like I said, I know there's kind of a lot of them. So first of all, I have groceries. I set $200 for that, and I did go slightly over this month, and I spent about $230. I am trying to make my groceries last so that I can only have to go grocery shopping twice a month, and I started doing that. I think I went grocery shopping actually 3 times this month, so I think that's why it went a little bit over. But hopefully next month I can manage to do just 2 and hopefully keep them both under $100. Alcohol and bars, I budgeted $60 and I spent $64, so I feel like that's a win for me, to be honest. Next I had coffee shops and dessert where I budgeted $40 and I spent $38. For fast food I had $50 and I spent $35. Restaurants I had $100 and I actually only spent $58 on that as well, which was really nice. Restaurants can fluctuate so much. I did not go into New York City this month, which I feel like is probably one of the major reasons why I didn't spend as much. I mean, I did go once, but my mom was here and she very kindly paid for my food. And so that's probably why that one isn't as high, but I'm probably gonna keep that at around the same. For gas, I had $150, I spent $120. For dance, I put down $175 and I wound up spending $200. I expected to only have to buy 1 class card, but I wound up trying out a new place this month, so I went a little bit over. For home improvement, I said $150. I wanted to decorate my apartment a little bit more this month, so I put some money into that, and I wound up only spending $140, which is nice. For clothing, I put $100 in, and I spent $77, and that is literally just for a sweatshirt. Actually, I did not realize that I had budgeted more for that. Man, that was a missed opportunity. I also put in $30 for additional shopping, only spent $17. Public transport, I put in $50. I didn't spend any because, like I said, I didn't really go into New York. My mom paid for my ticket the one time that I did, so that was really, really nice of her. Ride share and parking, I put $25. I think I spent $25 on parking. Auto maintenance was something that I just hadn't really considered as something that I was gonna have to pay for, which is bad, I know, but I had to take my car to be serviced and it hurt. I think it was about $400. So yeah, basically my budget went way over because of that, but it is what it is. Tolls, I put in $50, I wound up spending $100. That's just something I'm still trying to figure out how much I'm going to be spending. I went to visit my boyfriend a few times this month and there was a lot of tolls involved in that, so I think that's where a lot of that came from. And then the last few categories I didn't really put much into. Vacation, gifts, nothing. Like I said, those are sinking funds, but I still have them in this category just in case something comes up and I need to use some spending money for those. And then charity, I didn't budget in anything, but I wound up spending about $30. And then for fun, I put $50 and I wound up spending $60. So overall, I had budgeted to spend about $1,200 and I spent $1,600, but like I said, basically all of that was because I didn't account for the fact that I was gonna have to do all this stuff to my car. In addition to all of that, I did contribute to all of my funds, like I said, and I basically put in $200 for my vacation fund, $300 for flights, $50 for my gift fund, and then the rest went into my emergency fund. And in addition to that, I'm also investing in a 401k and an HSA, but that's all through my company and that goes straight through my paycheck. Okay, so moving on to October, we're going to start going through the budget for that. First off, I always want to do my savings first. If there's anything I've learned is that you always want to pay yourself first. So in order to do that with my budget, I'll budget out goals for how much I would like to be saving every month. So I'll put in, for this month, for example, I have $200 for my vacation fund, $200 for flights, $50 for my car, and $75 for my gift fund. Now those are my goal amounts. However, I'm going to go ahead right now on the very first day that I'm budgeting this out and say that my actual savings that's non-negotiable, this is going in my savings, I can consider this money already out of my general spending money, I do that on the very first day of the month. So for that, I've done $200 for my vacation fund, $100 for flights, $50 for my car, $50 for the gift fund, and then the rest I've also put in some for the emergency fund. And basically I just do that so no matter what, I am definitely setting aside that money right away. I would love to put more in, but these are my non-negotiable amounts that I absolutely want to be putting into my savings. However, at the end of the month, I'll review, and if I have any money left over, then I can go ahead and put that in as well, based off of those goals that I set. But I just think it's better to have a little bit of wiggle room in there with the amount of money that I'm spending. Because things always come up, you just never know, and so I like to just kind of give myself that flexibility there. But I like to also make sure that I am putting in the non-negotiable amounts as soon as possible. So then my expenses budget is pretty similar to last month. I'm not going to read through it, you can see it, I'll put it up on the screen right now. The main ones, I brought down my home improvement to 100, I have clothing to 150. I brought my tolls budget up based off of the amount that I spent last month. I think I kept restaurants, fast food, those all pretty much the same, just based on some plans that I already know that I'm having this month. I know that I might need a little bit more in some of those areas. That is it for my finances right now. One of my goals for this month is I just want to feel a little bit more calm with my spending. I feel like I've been very, very stressed about putting a whole bunch of money in my savings, which granted is absolutely very important and I definitely need to do, but I also am very, very lucky and I have money in my savings. I can relax a little bit, and this month is my birthday month. I want to be able to treat myself a little bit. I don't want to be so hard on myself if I go a little bit over in some of these categories. It's not the end of the world. Money is there to be spent, and I think that it's important that you have a good balance of saving and spending and doing what you can. That's kind of my thought right now, because I've just been very money anxious this past year, what with moving out and starting out on my own and all of this stuff, and I feel like I'm starting to get a feel for what I need to be spending and what I want to be spending. And there's just some things that I've been putting off buying that I'm I kind of need these things, and it's really silly of me to not buy them because I'm oh my gosh, I'm gonna go $5 over in my budget. No, I need toilet bowl cleaner. I can go over the budget. The next portion of this video, what I want to do is I want to go through my reflections from September and also talk about my goals for October. So to be honest, I didn't really set any goals in the month of September. I just feel like I haven't really been on this goals kick recently. Sometimes I definitely feel like I'm much more motivated by a very specific goal checklist. But I was feeling a little I had set a lot of goals at the beginning of the year, and I feel like I just wasn't sure where I would be at this point in the year. And I feel like right now with the adjustment of like post-college life, like post-grad, working a full-time 9 to 5, that kind of thing, I just wasn't really sure what it was going to be like. And I feel like right now I just need to like settle into this and feel it out, I guess, and see what feels good. So for October, I have 3 priorities, I guess, that I guess will be like my goals, but they're really general. They're not exactly like actionable goals per se. They're just kind of what I really want to be making sure that I'm focusing on. So the first one is YouTube consistency. I really feel like now that I am not in school and I have time to be creative, I'm really loving doing that on YouTube, and so I just really want to focus on that a lot. Another thing I want to do is I want to do some more research into gut health, and I think just like learning a little bit more about that overall. That's been something I've been interested in for a while, and just like health and food and how that affects like bacteria in your gut and that kind of thing. I think it's an important thing to know about, so I wanted to spend time learning about that. And then my last priority is I just want to be more comfortable asking questions at work. I feel like sometimes I kind of get intimidated, or I feel like I need to like explain why I'm asking a question, or like justify the fact that I'm asking a question, and I'm like, no, like it's okay, like I'm allowed to ask questions, I need to be asking questions. So yeah, those are my 3 top priorities for this month. I also want to talk a little bit about some of the things that I'm looking forward to, just so that you guys can get a taste of what's to come this month. So it is my birthday. I'm turning 23. I cannot believe I'm going to be 23. That sounds so old. I mean, not really. Like, it doesn't. I know, in the grand scheme of things. And it's fine. But like, oh my gosh. Like, I'm an actual adult. I also have some exciting weekend trips planned. I'm going to visit my friend up near Rochester. I'm going to the US Grand Prix, which I am so excited about, and I'm gonna get to go home for that too and like see my family. And then Villanova is having their homecoming weekend in the end of October, so I'm also gonna get to go to that, and I just have fun plans all around. I'm just like looking forward to the month. I do have a couple of books that I want to read this month. I'm prioritizing Lord of Shadows, which is the book that I'm currently halfway through, and it's just a long book and I'm rereading it, so hopefully I'll finish that pretty soon. And then I also want to read The Paris Apartment, which I think is by Lucy Foley. My mom brought it up for me whenever she was visiting this month, and I'm very excited to read it. So to wrap up the video, I want to go through some of my September reflections and talk about some of my favorite things from the month of September. So let's just hop right in. I honestly like don't even know where to start. I feel like I was just looking back at September, and I definitely feel like there's been a lot of highs and lows this month. I'm definitely adjusting to the whole post-grad thing, but it's definitely taking some time, and I've definitely been feeling a little bit like, I guess, homesick and like lonely a little bit, just compared to being around people, like all of my college friends all the time. It's very different to now be very far from a lot of them, or not even that far, but just like, it's not like I can just like text them and be there in 2 minutes, you know? So I think that I've had to deal with that a lot, but I was just looking at a lot of pictures and reviewing what I did this month, and I actually did like kind of a lot, so let's just talk about them. So at the very beginning of the month, I went back to Villanova. Talking about like missing my college friends, I literally spent almost every single weekend of September at Villanova, so oh well. Anyway, first weekend I went back to Villanova, and I actually went on a little road trip with a club that I used to be part of, and we went to Pittsburgh for this like racing competition, and we camped out in Pittsburgh, and we got to race our little car that we made last year. Not little, it's a pretty big car actually. I was part of the Formula SAE team there, and so that's what I went back for, and we got to race it, and we actually did quite well, and it was really fun, and it was just like a great weekend. That was for Labor Day weekend. And then the week after that, was one of my friends who is now in grad school across the country. She came to visit for a weekend at Nova, and so I went and met up with her and met up with some of the other people from the club that she and I were in together. I also went and saw David Kushner in Philadelphia that weekend, which was so good. Oh my goodness. If you have not heard of David Kushner, like, I'm sure you have. If you've been scrolling through TikTok at all, I'm sure you've heard his music, but I just vibe with it so hard, and it's perfect for fall. Check it out. At the beginning of the month, I also had like this beach day with work, which was really, really fun. I really feel like I made some good friends at work, or I'm like starting to really develop some good friendships and stuff, so that's really, really nice. I am in a program where we've all just graduated from college, so I love that fact. But yeah, we had a really fun beach day. My mom also came to visit one weekend, and we went into New York City. We saw Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, and that was an incredible show, and just spending the day in New York was so much fun, especially with her. And then last weekend was Parents' Weekend at Villanova, and I went to go visit my boyfriend again, and his parents were there, and we just like hung out. We hung out with roommates, families. It was just really nice to all just to like be around on Parents' Weekend. I feel like anybody who's been on a college campus, whenever it's Parents' Weekend, it's just such a different vibe, and like it's so much more lively, and people are out and about, and you're seeing all these parents everywhere, and it's just really, really nice. Okay, so now on to some of my favorite things I've been enjoying in this past month. So first of all, TV show wise, I've been watching a lot of The Big Bang Theory, and I am so into it. It's so good, it's so funny. I used to watch this as a child a pretty decent amount. Like on airplanes, it would always be like my go-to show, but I've never watched it all the way through, so I'm working on that. And anybody who knows me knows that I'm really, really bad about watching shows all the way through, but yeah, I'm on season 10 of this show, which is crazy. That's a lot for me. Some creators that I've been watching recently, I have been loving Danielle Carolyn. She does like the Gals on the Go podcast. I've also been listening to that a little bit more, but I love her New York City content. It's been so inspiring to me, like living so close to the city now. I can like go in basically whenever I want, and I just love finding ideas and things to do, and she has some really good stuff. I also love Grace Smith. I have been watching her videos for absolutely just like years, and they're so relatable because she's like my age. We're going through similar stuff. It's really fun to watch. And then I've also been watching Annika, I think is how you say her name. She just has some really good like lifestyle content, and it's always like very aesthetic, and I love her fashion sense, so it's really fun to watch that. A podcast that I've been listening to a lot is the Bloom with Becca podcast. I really like watching Becca Watson on YouTube, but her podcast, she just started it this month, and it's been really, really nice to listen to. I think she has some really cool insights and thoughts, and I just really enjoy her podcast. And then finally, music-wise, I'm gonna say David Kushner again. I really just think he's like the perfect fall vibe. I've also been listening to Taylor Swift Evermore. I'm definitely an Evermore over Folklore person. I'm not really big Taylor Swift fan. Like I like her music, but I'm not like a Swiftie per se. I'm not like hardcore, but I do think she's really cool, and I do like her music. So that was everything for this reset. I hope that you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to give it a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.